Mr. Pravir, how do you see the upcoming rise of renewables in Oman, and how do you see it from BEC's point of view?
Yeah, like Gus said, that scale has already tilted. The tipping point is, so if we can get solar energy less than coal-fired power plant energy, that cost, so I think it's already done. Only thing is we are not moving fast enough in that direction to capture. We all know solar potential and wind potential for Oman is very high. In fact, solar potential is perhaps best in the world. We as BEC have already made a move in this direction, and we have already set up a pilot plant of 303 kilowatt in Al Maizuna, Yemen border, which is operating for last 1 year. It's giving us the desired results, and we are looking forward to many more larger capacity projects coming up, because the kind of cents per kilowatt Gert talked about, it can happen only if your plants are very big in size, could be 200 to 800 megawatts. So I think we are excited to be part of this, but some of those regulatory things which could bring about a revolution should happen. I recently read that in Africa, rooftop generation has become a norm. And the company we were working with in Al Maizuna is now fully present in Africa, and they are doing wonderful business in rooftop generation, where a person is allowed to generate his own electricity, and net metering is the concept. Whatever you generate, you don't pay for that, though you remain connected with the grid. I think some such regulations we were hoping for coming in this year, and I hope it's coming in shape now. This will really help people in generating their own power. As far as solar as a technology is concerned, it cannot be dependent 100%, because it can be a cloudy day, it could be a rainy day, not so much in Oman, but wherever else. In my opinion, we should start off with hybrid generation, where so if we have put up a 100 megawatt, say diesel or gas turbine based project, we could have another 25 megawatt coming from probably solar panels. So you can save in fuel when the solar is working, you can cut down your production in a conventional plant and bring up solar. This is one concept we have been working with some of the industries and some of the entities in Oman, and I'm sure it will sell. The introduction of a new technology brings in many more opportunities. There are a lot of PV cell manufacturing coming up around us, including in India. And some of those will be sold in this country. I think a manufacturing industry can benefit a lot if we make the panels here. We just get the cells here, assemble the panels, do the electrification, buy Gertz cables and connect it to the grid. So that's what...
The trafos of volt.
Absolutely. So I think just one regulatory change can bring in a revolution here, and we are on the verge of it. Financing was a big issue in the earlier days, but with this cost per megawatt coming down, it will not be, and there will be many solutions available for financing. So I think Oman should go for it right now.
Thank you. Good input. A question, what is holding us back? Why we can't take a village which is now running on diesel, which has no grid connection, and just put a solar panel of 500,000 watt? What is holding us up, in your opinion?
Yeah, these are some of the regulatory things which have to come in place, where I can generate power, connect it to the grid, and get paid.
There is no grid. It's just a diesel station that is running on diesel today.
Yeah. So we need to start off in that area, and we are working with some of the industries where I think the hybrid will be the first solution, then large-scale solar will come in.
Maybe, sorry, Marcos, because I like the idea, right? Because why could we not be pioneering? Why could we not, together with the authorities, with the NAMA group, identify a village and make this work? And, use the technology that we have available, not only on these chairs, but, collectively in the room. It would be definitely great to take such initiative.
I think we are all very eager to start out on this adventure of renewable energy, but I believe Oman has taken a very smart approach and waiting for the right technology to roll out. Because other countries, we know in Europe, or also in Germany, we have started very early, and we have paid dearly by subsidizing in the tens of billions of euros, because we made a wrong step. And now there are different technologies, and I think until today it's not clear is conversion of solar energy into direct electricity the right thing, or is it better out of solar energy to generate hydrogen gas? Because hydrogen gas, you build a gas pipeline, it can also burn it at night or in the morning. And we don't have a battery storage. So I think we are almost there. We are all very eager, but it's still not the final decision on what technology path to follow. Yeah, we can make still a lot of mistakes if we go the wrong path. What's your opinion, Engineer
If I
Hassan?
may add
Oh,
just
yes,
on his
yes, Ms.
point,
Gada,
Sadiq,
please.
Sorry. So the matter is all about the cost. So it's just, what economic sense it makes to introduce renewables. So once it reaches that level, then it will roll out a lot faster. But right now, our rural areas are definitely looking at that, and we've already introduced a lot of renewables, and we're slowly coming into that. But ultimately, the suppliers and the contractors need to start gearing up for more renewables in the near future. In terms of leading the initiative, the Authority for Electricity Regulation is definitely leading that initiative, and they've already carried out some studies around this opportunity.
Engineer Hassan?
As a world time, we start working on the renewable energy, especially for hybrid system where you have a lot of generation of the diesel. And the initial study is showing very encouraging that you can reduce immediately 40% of your diesel, which is very good and is very beneficial for the Oman. I think that would be the best to start for the renewable energy hybrid with the existing diesel, because the economy is allowing you immediately.
Yes, yes. Good. So I think we have spoken our minds, and I would be very happy if the audience also asks some questions. If you don't feel confident enough to stand up and ask, then maybe write it on a piece of paper and we read it out, and don't disclose from whom it comes. But please, yes, I see an arm rising. Further questions? Who is next?
Thank you very much, Marcus. Point number one, on the lighter side, it's a good panel. NAMA, Voltam, and then Oman Cables and BEC, and then the coordinator is from Siemens. So everything is electrical and electrified. So that's one aspect, but I must tell you that the pain is on the other side also, where we are a manufacturing company which is involved in concrete products, close to the civil, and millions of square meters, blocks, interlocking tiles, curbstones, pattern tiles, roof tiles, whatnot. So the pain is on the other side. And most of the companies are faced with shrinking projects, shrinking spreads, lower cash flows, tackling volume requirements, and some companies are even driven to handling, fixed costs even. So that's the pain on the other side, which is on the civil side because of lesser projects, lesser spends. Now, fortunately, we have among us one member who handles even contracting, which is Mr. Praveer Chakravarti. He handles construction also as part of Bhavan Contracting Company. So my question is to him, how is the pinch on the construction side and civil side? What are the measures that you're taking for managing cash flows per se? And is the pinch greater on the civil side because of lesser projects? Your insight or dimensions could be helpful for the other people who are involved here into a significant aspect of economy which is other than the electrical aspect. So that's one person there being not from that's the electrical field which was being covered, but the other side is of course a major industry which is involved in construction, civil, and so on and so forth. So I just had thought of, tackling that. Before Mr. Praveer Chakravarti comes on the question, I just wanted to say that we are certainly taking away the points on optimizing and all that, and certainly we are all on that. But the main thing is, how is the pinch on the construction, and how is he managing cash flows? What is his views? What is the experience on the shrinking aspect of the spends and the projects and all that? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very relevant question. It's a very wide-ranging, it has wide-ranging answers. So I'll try to focus on few key points. Civil construction is basically a labor-intensive industry. So anything, most of the money goes into the labor, and that is where if we can that's where pain is being felt. There are situations where we need to immediately ramp up labor, and we don't get clearances, we don't catch up on project, we lose on projects. Some of the project schedules which come up to us and they are not realistic, not benchmarked with the internationally achieved time cycles. And there, if you have constraint on labor, then you have a double problem. So what we are going through now is an intense focus on quality of labor. Quantity, suppose it's not in your control. Sometimes you can miss out on quantity, but quality of labor. So at the entry end, we are introducing those measures which ensures that we get the best skilled people here, and then we churn out output more than what we used to do. So the average output goes up, and but yes, civil industry is under difficult times, and we are trying to find ways to optimize it. There are a lot of companies which have come up who help you in optimizing your work processes at site. There are a lot of good and bad practices we employ at site in terms of labor handling, in terms of material handling, in terms of sequencing of. So those, we are utilizing their services also as a third party who comes in and tells us what we are doing good, what we are not doing good, and we improve those processes to increase the efficiency. These are the only ways I think at this time we are able to survive and stay above water. And so.
On the aspect of managing the shrinking volume and shrinking projects and what your take on cash flow management is, are you facing the similar grievous challenges that many people are?
Yeah, like I said before, cash is king and we are after it, but then still it remains a big challenge. But with the advent of large projects like Liva Plastics and hopefully Dukum very soon, I think civil industry will have enough to do. And with the focus shifting to tourism, a lot of hotels are coming up. And I think civil industry will have enough to do, at least for 2017. And hopefully things will get better by that time.
Thank you. Please, another. Please.
Morning. My name is Avad Maheshwari. I am from Urich Group. You see, we have seen the situation of 2016 as it's going, and we have another 2 months to conclude it. Everybody is concerned for the future. That is 2017 and beyond. We should have some set priorities industry-wise. If civil is not coming, then what is coming next? Where we can focus, bring in new resources, new systems, new management, what we have talked about this morning, cost control, new markets, everybody is trying that. But we have to look at Oman. We need to have some priorities on the project sites, what we are going to have in 2017 and how we get up for them. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Praveer, if you would help us.
Yeah, with respect to the energy, I think the power and energy portion, one thing which we have to look at right now is with the prices going up and pressure on your pocket, efficient consumption will become the norm, and that is what we need to focus on, where how do we reduce our consumption, apart from generating more and generating cheaper and generating with solar and so many things. But we need to focus on efficient consumption, which right now is not the focus area. But you would have seen that with fuel prices going up, the sale of lower grade fuel has gone up by 284% last month data. So people are shifting priorities because they can't afford it. And when it comes to that, people start thinking, innovating, and so how do I reduce my energy consumption? That is one area where I think there will be a lot of focus, and maybe energy optimization, energy efficiency, energy auditing, these things become an industry when you get into these zones. That is one area which will pick up, at least I can see in near future in Oman.
If I may add to the energy conservation and becoming more energy efficient, this is definitely something that I see as an opportunity for 2017. We are still switching on the lights and we have traditional bulbs. We discussed this last year in the same forum. Why and when are we going to say we are going to change to energy efficient lighting? Let's make it an obligation. Let's take out the traditional Philips bulbs from the stores, and let's start saving energies. it is saving, it is helping the individual bills, and it is also helping the electricity that we need in the grid. Cooling. When are we going to introduce energy efficient air conditioners? I have 10 on the roof for my house alone. You know, I mean, there is so much to save. So also as an industry, I think we should take the initiative there, and we should convince our customers, our distribution channels, and ultimately, you know, through a concerted approach, maybe together with the NAMA group, you know, also reach out and go together to the final customer. Let's work on the ministry. Let the ministry impose that we finally move away from high energy consumption light bulbs. I don't know, Mr. Omar, if you can comment on that from your perspective, because I believe that also in terms of the whole electricity consumption in the network, this aspect is would definitely be a welcome initiative.
And with cost-reflective tariff, that would probably introduction from now and on existing customers from next year, that will help at least manage the peak in terms of electricity consumption. With regard in general to energy conservation, Public Authority for Electricity and Water with JICA conducted a study, and we know all the answers. What you mentioned is very well documented as initiatives, and now the Authority for Electricity Regulation have taken it upon themselves to start implementing the recommendations, and they include energy efficient products, they include energy management within buildings, etc., etc. And I think they already started the education program within the government, and I'm sure you will see changes in the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just regarding the same question, what industry now infrastructure need to do? In my opinion, that first of all, you need to look to your process, because I'm sure if you look to your process, this one, you can do a lot of saving, and also you can reduce your cost. The second thing, I mean, in terms of the electricity, the energy saving equipment need to be start thinking seriously about this. The third most important that your this one also your automation innovation, you start thinking of that, because I'm taking my experience from the Voltam side. I've already started doing that. I have 3 industries. One of the industry already all the lights are energy saving, even in the shop floor. Second thing, regarding the energy also, we have start putting the energy saving equipment, so that starting, and we have a long list of the initiative for the energy saving. Of course, as Engineer Omar says, the timely tariff introduction will help to reduce in the generation side of that, and the cost will come down. The industry will pay more if they want to operate in that region, but at the same time, also the economy will be better as a country. I have implemented also this process improvement, and I could, it's not exaggerating, but I could improve 40% of the production with this initiative. And if anybody interesting, I can share that idea with you. Thank you.
Ms. Gada, if you want to share some.
We've introduced a sustainability policy in 2014, and it looks after 3 main pillars, one being social, environmental, and economical. So the economic pillar looks at the ICV piece. On the environmental pillar, we're looking at 2 sides of energy conservation. one being on the carbon intensity of our generation systems, and then another being on the carbon footprint. So in terms of differentiating the two, the carbon intensity is something that we've been working on for many years now. And we have managed to substantially reduce our energy gas consumption. And that is something that OPWP are continuously working on through the way they implement the designs and the models of our generation systems. In terms of the carbon footprint, this is something that's directly funded by our sustainability fund. So our shareholders have allocated 500,000 riyals per annum towards sustainability initiatives. And we are currently rolling out a nationwide energy conservation campaign. And this energy conservation campaign has basically started in June, where we have identified stars in energy conservation. So the point here is that, yes, the regulator is working around the regulations that are required to enforce, like you said, the building codes and the products which we should use in order to conserve further energy. But ultimately, there is a choice that lies between us. So we've identified suppliers and SMEs, individuals, housewives, businessmen, all sorts of segments in the society that have already started implementing energy conservation measures. And what we did is that we basically used their stories and have identified them as stars. And so basically, this is our responsibility. And I mean, in my opinion, we don't need to wait for a certain policy. There's something that you can immediately change in terms of behavior. So the question that I'm usually asked when you roll out a campaign, how does it change behavior? So a campaign is not about just advertising or putting, press releases out. A campaign is a joint effort. So there is a whole big stakeholder management piece. Like Engineer Umar said, implementing the cost-reflective tariff will certainly force, large companies to shift their, patterns so that, they shift away from peak hours and think twice on the way they operate their business. And that larger scale stakeholder management piece is now going to be championed, and the whole demand side management is going to be championed by the authority. But from our perspective, we will definitely continue identifying cost-effective measures to implement better energy conservation on the intensity and to encourage residents, commercial segments, and many other segments to utilize energy more efficiently.
Thank you. But I'd like to ask the floor, raise a few more questions, please. I see a hand. Mic runner.
Hi, this is Samir from Hassan Juma Bakar and Urich Concrete Products. I think 51% of the GDP is coming from the crude and oil sector. And after reviewing the per capita income and the GDP, my question is, don't you feel that we should aggressively diversify the sector and we should not rely entirely on, with due respect to oil and crude oil sector, but we should diversify the sector, we should more focus and implement about the new sector like tourism. And I'm surprised here, no one is from tourism sector or any other sector over here. What present government is taking any aggressive steps regards to this? This is my question to panelists, please. Thank you.
Allow me to comment on it. I believe to implement such plans, it takes a lot of preparation, feed studies, tenders and actual implementation. And if you look at Oman, at the present, there are 27 projects in the oil and gas industry, or call it 20 if you classify petrochem and oil and gas in different sectors. And Oman has a pipeline of more than 15 to 17 billion dollars on these projects. I believe the government has well thought and is very much in progress of diversifying the industry. And what Mr. Pravir before mentioned, we are all hoping on a quick implementation of LIVA. We all know that the EPCs have been appointed. The EPCs are now shopping for services and products. So LIVA is one example of a $5-point-something billion project exactly doing what you just mentioned. And there's a whole pipeline. I personally say Oman is honestly it's ahead, but it's also following through. I was attending the MEED conference 2 days ago, and one of the speakers said, you see, when the LIVA plastic project was mentioned last year at a similar event in the UAE, my project was number 8 on the list. If the same conference would take place today, I would be number 1 on the list because all other projects have been stopped or halted. So I believe the diversification is quite well on the way, and we could speak longer, but my personal opinion is we are in good waters on this. Yeah.
Fine. So, sir, can we see that more FDI can come into the picture, or any kind of encouragement or attractiveness for the FDI in Oman?
Sorry, I didn't catch you.
Foreign direct investments or any kind of that, we should think very aggressively on that area. That is...
I'm not the one deciding on it. I
course,
understand
yes,
where you
of
come
course,
from.
yes.
Yes, but
Of
maybe
course,
one
yes.
of the other panelists.
I would like to comment there. Yes, FDI is very important. It is not very high during the recent years. We can improve, definitely.
Yes.
Where can we improve? Of course, we can, as a government or as a country, go to the world and say, oh, Oman is such a nice country, come and invest. But that is, I believe, not the key to the solution. I think the initiative could also come from the companies who are already in Oman and who invite foreign partners. And even, it could go through an ownership. Let me give the Oman Cable situation. We had for 15 years a shareholder, an international shareholder that had 35, we are a public company, a stock market company, that had 35% ownership in Oman Cables. This company decided to step up and take a majority share, a 51%. I can tell you, because this shareholder is the largest cable manufacturer in the world. They have 90 factories, they are in more than 20 companies, they have 8 billion of sales. The effect that this investment has on the company in terms of access to technology, development projects, access to new markets, I think this is a very good model for companies in Oman. Select an international partner who can bring in knowledge, who can help you to innovate, who can help you to create more added value. Because, as an industry, unfortunately, we are in the commodity business. We really create very few added value. We do cement, we do steel, we do aluminium, all very little added value. To increase that, we need to innovate. And how do you innovate? In the first place, by making sure you have the knowledge and the means and the resources to do so. So let's think about pulling in international partners to take ownership in our companies in order to accelerate that process. Because FDI, to start a greenfield factory in whatever field in Oman, is a very difficult choice. We better start with what we have.
Agree, totally agree.
On the other hand, please think of Duqm. There is no other place making it easier for FDI.
Very true, very true.
Than the special economic zone. So I think Oman has catered a buffet for everyone. So, and if you compare it regionally, we are doing pretty well. I would like to.
Do you see any tax implication? Of course, we are not the deciding factor, as you rightly mentioned. But can you see any taxation structure in future to come out, the current economic situation from the present government?
I can't comment on this question.
Okay.
to enhance and to maximize your experience and also have value for our coffee break, I think I want to have one more question from the floor,
Yeah.
and then we are going for
I
a
have
break.
a question. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ajay. Of course, he was mentioning most of the people here from different construction or power industry. I'm from a totally different industry. I come from the consumer industry. I have a concern. The buzzwords we're talking about is conservation, optimization, re-engineering, innovation, and efficiency. And all that this does is actually it brings down the consumption. So we're becoming more efficient, so we consume lesser, and we get more out of it. So Oman being an oil-dependent economy, wherein with renewable energy and other things, Oman GDP is dependent on oil. So the prices are coming down, the consumption is coming down. So my question is, what are the alternatives available for us to spruce up this GDP which is shrinking? So we need to bring up the GDP. So we need to have an alternative revenue source. So what are the 3 industries which Oman should focus on immediately? You can talk about tourism. We need some time, a decade or 2 to develop that. There are other things, infrastructure you're going to develop. By the time you get benefits, it's going to take time. So 3 industries we should immediately focus on, which would generate, in fact, increase the consumption levels, spending. 2, which are the 3 regulatory and policy decisions which can be implemented immediately, which can have immediate effect on the economy. The third question, which is very important, is currently we were a surplus economy, we are becoming a deficit economy. We are borrowing. Most of our borrowing currently, we started borrowing late, we're conservative in it. We started borrowing, most of our borrowing is spent in taking care of our expenses. It's not actually going into the investment. So it is very imperative for us to generate revenue. So what are the 3 industries? 3 policy and regulatory decisions which can give immediate effect.
So I think I need to make a correction. We're not going for a coffee break. We go directly to lunch after your many questions yet. So any one of the panelists likes to make a first
The
reply?
first part I can address, which is, I think, visible and we read it in newspapers every time. Logistics was to be a big industry here. Unfortunately, it's taken a back seat because of the railway project, which is still yet to take up. But definitely there are 2 areas which are clearly identified. One is tourism, second is mining, and third, inshallah, this Iran gas, if it arrives on shores, it will lead to manufacturing. So let's hope and pray and work towards getting the Iran gas here, and it will really boost up the economy.
This is exactly this point, and I like the questions, you know, because you said, what is the top 3 here, what is the top 3 there? This is exactly what is being addressed in the 10 feet program. They are meeting now at the other side of town in a concluding meeting, and I think, you know, it would be very ambitious for us to answer all these questions because it's really a national dilemma. So I think in the coming weeks we have to follow the newspapers, because what I know from the 10 feet program is that they have defined the answers on these questions.
Good. So, Ms. Gata, would you like to make a closing statement, some message for all of us? We go just through every panelist.
So everyone is talking about the next big thing or the next big idea. Where should our investments be directed to? Well, I was fortunate enough to be part of 10 feet as well. And I have seen great work that's being done there. You know, obviously, like any team formation, there was the storming initially, but then, you know, a lot of it has become really, really positive. And I think one of the things that we need to definitely look at is, you know, developing our workforce for the next stage. So these, there are going to be 5 key industries that the government is going to be focusing on. One will definitely be tourism, logistics, manufacturing, mining, and fisheries and agriculture. So these 5 industries are definitely going to be pushed forward. So what's the government role and what is the private sector role? So the government role, from what I understood, they're going to be focusing on the infrastructure and the ease of doing business. So basically, they want to create the right balance in the ecosystem between the labor, the finance, capital markets, in order to generate interest, attract further FDI, and in terms of continuing the development of existing projects. So what I understood, that there is a clear commitment there. And I think, this is not our first economic downturn. We've managed to identify great opportunities from the previous one. It generates more need for further technological innovation, further research and development, and ultimately, all our businesses in our strategic plans, we look at efficiencies wherever possible. And I think sometimes, tightening the belt will generate even more innovative ideas.
Ms. Gada, this was very inspiring, and I take it as a closing statement. We have started with you, and you also finished our session. I believe you were very much enjoying the session. You have been a very good audience for us, so maybe give a big hand now to the panelists, and we close this session. Thank you.